my name is Charlene Crothers, and I am doing this live about my story. So, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. I'm actually driving to pick up my son, so I'm not looking at comments. I'm not holding my phone. I'm not being dangerous. I'm actually just driving to pick up my son. But I wanted to talk about my story. So you guys know, and some of you do, but so you know where I'm coming from, what I'm doing, and where I'm planning on going. Okay. And I'm not liking where my phone is at, but sorry, I don't have event clip. I actually thought I did, but I couldn't find it. Okay, so my story. So I love my mom, and I love my dad, and I love my stepdad, and I love my brother, and I love my sister. I love my family. So anything I say is really not any disrespect to them. I also love my children. I love my grandson. Like, I love my family. It's not disrespect to them in any way, shape, or form. I grew up, my mom was a young mom. She was 17 when she had me. She was married to my dad, so oddly enough, she was actually married. And it's different when you grow up with a mom that was a teenage mom. There's a little bit of a difference. And I've noticed that because I know some people that were teenage moms. And so it just seems to be a little different. We did not have a lot of money. We financially struggled for many years. And that's where I think a lot of my scarcity mindset came from. And, you know, we appreciated everything. And I love excuse me. I love that fact that my mom did instill that into me. Excuse me. I love that fact. My mom did instill being appreciative, loving everything going on, and, had us be grateful for everything. So I do have a lot of gratitude on my heart that's always been instilled, but just had that scarcity mindset. We didn't have money. I didn't get to go out to eat very much. When we could afford to go out to eat, we did, but just really didn't have a lot of things. And that influenced how I raised my children, because I always wanted to overcompensate. Because the fact of the matter is I made a significant amount of money as they were growing up. So I, didn't have a lot of money. We lived in a lot of different places, traveled around the United States. So I've seen a lot of different places. I've also in traveling around, have been able to live without. Packing was always fun. So I've been able to live without, because we would always downsize, and we honestly didn't have a lot of stuff. So living without wasn't a big deal. Moved to a new place and just made do. My brother and I had a very active imagination and was outside quite a bit. But some things in my story. I was, when I was a very little girl, I had a babysitter, and I remember this vividly. And how would you remember something vividly if it didn't happen? I mean, it happened. But I had a male babysitter that used to take me to the bathroom and watch me pee. and then would wipe me, but not always use, toilet paper or anything to wipe me. Sometimes just use, his body. And it felt weird. But I was really young, and it felt uncomfortable and weird. So, but I didn't know what to say or what to do. This is a babysitter. This is someone my mom entrusted to watch. So, and I'm going to be honest, my mom hasn't heard this. My mom doesn't know. She's not on Facebook. I really actually wanted to talk to my mom. This whole coronavirus, I haven't been able to go see her because she is in an age range where she is vulnerable, and I don't want to potentially infect her. So I'm like, you know what? We're going to do the social distancing. We're going to continue that. I'm not telling her this over the phone. But she knows some things has happened to me in my life too. One of the places we moved to, my friend, her uncle, one day came over to pick her up and tell her to go home. And he stayed. Forced my brother into a closet with a knife. We were little. We were just little kids then. And proceeded to touch me and grope me, and was starting to unbutton his pants when my friend came back to find out, what's going on. That did get reported to the police. He denied it, and the police in the state we were living in didn't arrest him because there wasn't enough evidence. It was my word against his word. And I think after that, I was like, what's the point? What's the point in telling someone? Because I did tell my mom. We did go to the police. We did report it, and nothing came of it. So, at a very young age, I felt that I didn't feel protected. My parents did what they could do to protect me. In which we ended up moving out of the situation. They were just beside themselves and felt really horrible, felt really bad. So we did. We moved and moved back to South Dakota. Stayed here ever since. And things were going okay. And then the next incident happened when I was a couple years later, and it was a gentleman that I babysat his children, and he would drop me off at home after a long night of drinking, and he would park the car and have his hands all over me, take off his clothes. A couple times I actually got out of the vehicle and ran home. And I just didn't say anything other than to my best friend at the time, who I found out he did the same to her. And we made it a goal of not telling a soul about it. Since then, my best friend at that time, she has passed away, so she took it to the grave. But we haven't told anybody. We didn't tell anybody. We also didn't watch for that family either anymore. They were a well-known family in the town. And I didn't want to tell anyone because I knew it was going to reflect badly on me, because that's what I had learned as a very young age, is that the police weren't going to do anything, and all it was going to do was hurt me. So I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell my parents. Coincidentally, I tried to commit suicide a couple of times because I just didn't feel like I was worthy. I had always been overweight, so that didn't help. I got teased as a child a lot, and my self-worth was pretty low. And so I did turn to alcohol. I did turn to smoking. I did turn to sex. Any way that I could get acceptance. And that stayed with me for a very long time. I was smoking at the age of 12. I was drinking every weekend heavily. And I didn't do drugs, but any alcohol I could find, I drank it. So that always played a big impact. Now, I did great in school. I always had great grades, always, was smart, always worked hard. So my school work was actually not affected by this, amazingly. But I just didn't feel worthy. And honestly, if, I had committed suicide and I had died, I didn't feel like I was worth it. I honestly didn't think anyone would come to my funeral. And I didn't think anyone would care. Like, I thought actually only my parents would be there. One of the times I tried to commit suicide, I took my parents' gun in front of my mom and pointed it to my head. It was loaded because they had it there for protection. And because we lived out in a farm and some weird things had happened, so they had their handgun loaded. And I just told my mom that I wanted to end it. I just wanted to stop hurting. And clicked the gun and was ready to just pull the trigger. I just didn't want to live anymore. Seeing my mom cry stopped me. And I knew my mom always loved me. I knew that my parents loved me. But I thought they were the only ones. I felt so alone and so broken. But I pursued through all of it, and I'm at my destination, so I can continue the story. The crying will probably start, but I felt so alone and so broken, and I just struggled for the longest time. I really, really struggled. And that's why I made a lot of the choices that I've made. I'm at my destination. Ooh, but I need to keep my car on so my battery don't run dead. Okay, so okay. So I'm not going to look at comments. I'll respond later. I just, because if I look at comments, I might lose my nerve on telling my story. Because this is not an easy thing. Oh. Trying to find a good spot to just sit this, so I can just sit this, but I don't think there's a good spot. So, yep, here we go. Okay. So, that's why I made a lot of bad choices in my life. I married someone who, at the time, I deeply loved. It was my high school sweetheart. And honestly, he was very broken too. We both were. And that's not the best marriage to have. We both had suffered through a lot of trauma in our lives. And this is why I keep telling my daughter that, she needs to work on herself first, be in a good spot for her, because I honestly was not in a good spot, and I should have never, not say I should have never got married. I'm glad for all the things that happened, and I do actually have gratitude for it. I have forgiven the people that have done things to me, because I don't want that hate to rule me. It did rule me for a while. I want it to actually encourage and inspire and do great things. Like, I want to take something that's happened horribly and take great things out of it. I did, like I said, I've made a lot of bad choices. I know. But those bad choices, I kind of got to a point in my life where I'm like, I need to do something different. And I made some really good choices. Divorce is never easy, but I had to leave the relationship I was in for me and my children. I just didn't feel like I was being appreciated as much as I should have been. And I didn't want my kids thinking that was okay. I really didn't. Leaving a bad situation, it's hard. I mean, I knew financially I was going to take a hit, and I did. I took a huge hit. But I really wanted something better for my kids. And I know that, I try to tell them I've been the best that I can be. I'm the best version of me, and I continue to strive for that. I'm going to have mistakes. We're all going to mess up. So I've made some mistakes, but I wanted to be a better version of me and really just embrace being out of my comfort zone. And I've never done that. I haven't done that before. Just really embrace that. Just being out of your comfort zone, doing what you want to do, and stretch yourself further. And so I have a very different vision for myself and my life than I did years ago. And years ago I had a vision for myself and my life, but I had a very different vision of myself and for my life, and just wanted to work on improving myself. And since I've been doing that, I feel better about me. I sometimes do have like those negative thoughts just creep in, because man, if they can creep in, they certainly are going to do it. But I try not to let them. I try not to, listen to those voices that are saying, hey, you're not worthy. Or when people say that, and I have people who say that to me, you're not worthy. Why are you doing this? You're not pretty. You're not this. You're not that. I don't listen to them anymore. I don't listen to haters anymore. I'm just like, whatever. But I'm trying to be a better version of me. Take my goal, take my focus, work on me. And that's what I'm trying to do. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about my story. Apparently bringing myself back to memory lane. Because now I'm just like, I feel like, a boxer. I'm coming out guns blazing, and I have a vision for what I want to do with my life. And I want to help others. And whether it's one person at a time, I want, to help others, to tell the, children out there, teach them and educate them that you have to say no. It's okay to say no. Teach them and educate them what consent means. I really want to educate them and empower them. I also want to teach my children that they can be a better version of themselves, that they are amazing. We're all a gift, and we're all amazing, and we're all wonderful. And I just want them to know that we are all amazing. And, nobody's disappointing me. Nobody's upsetting me. We're just all amazing. We all have different paths. My path is pulling me one way. Your path is pulling you another. And that's fine. That's perfectly okay. But I just wanted to share a little bit about my story. I do appreciate all of you. If you want to, you can reach out to me. I do have some books that I have read on mindset, and I have a couple that I'm also currently reading. So put mindset in comments. I will certainly send that to you. I do not get anything out of it, but I want to help other people out there working on your mindset, working on you, working on being a better version of you. And if my story in any way, shape, or form helps you, I'm glad I told it. And even if it helps one person, I don't care. I'm glad I told it. Because I just feel that somebody out there might need it. So thank you for joining me. Have an amazing day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.